And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Brendan Kurtz. And Brendan Kurtz writes, "Hey, John and Rob. I don't think this is really surprising at all, but I thought it was interesting that a report just came out that Venom, Let There Be Carnage, just got its official MPA rating, and it's going to be PG-13. I know some of my friends were hoping for an R rating. What do you think of this rating, and do you think it will affect the quality of the movie?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, it's now official. We've got a rating for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And you're right, Brendan. It's not surprising at all. It's PG-13. Of course it's PG-13. It was always going to be PG-13. There's no reality in which this wasn't going to be a PG-13 film. The first Venom was PG-13 and made despite all the people, Rob, all the people saying, Venom's going to flop. You can't do a Venom film without Spider-Man in it. Oh, really? Guess what? They did. And it was great fun, and it made over $800 million at the box office, and it was a huge success, and it was a PG-13 film. Now, obviously, when you bring in a character like Carnage, even I have to go, I wonder if they'll go R on this. I mean, obviously, the good money bets that it's going to be PG-13 as well. But you wonder that. And then, Rob, that trailer came out. And that trailer, you got Carnage pinning that guy against the thing, and then ramming one of his, spear tentacle things into the guy's mouth. And he's like sucking the guts out of him and all that kind of stuff. And then more people went, I wonder if this thing could be rated R. And that's when you understand bringing in Carnage and seeing what we saw in the trailer, that's a fair thing to ask. It's like, maybe they will go R. But yeah, it was really no surprise today when it came out that it is indeed going to be rated PG-13. This comes to us from the folks at Joe Blow, who write, the MPAA, is actually now just the MPA is what they're called now, has officially granted Venom, Let There Be Carnage with a PG-13 rating, according to their weekly ratings bulletin, and confirmed on Sony's official website for the movie. The film earned a PG-13 rating for intense sequences of violence and action, some strong language, disturbing material, and suggestive references. In a similar fashion, 2018's Venom was rated for PG-13 for intense sequences of sci-fi violence and action and for language. While a PG-13 rating makes sense for financial purposes, since it opens the film up to be seen by more of their target demographic, a lot of fans were hoping for a more adult-oriented R-rated film, and that comes to us from our friends over at Joe Blow. Look, I've said this before, I will say it again. R rating does not make your movie better. It just doesn't. Dropping 3 more F-bombs and then showing boobies does not make your movie any better. Well, maybe for juveniles like me, but in general, it does not make your movie any better. And look, the reality is, everybody forgets that you can get away with a lot of stuff in PG-13. As long as you follow some guidelines. Don't show the blood. Don't show the blood. You could have Carnage ripping people apart. If you don't see blood splattering everywhere, you can get a PG-13. You can get look, everybody likes to look back and remember fondly the original Hellboy and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Guess what? You know what those are rated? They're rated PG-13. You get away with a lot of stuff. So look, did Venom, Let There Be Carnage need to be R? We've been having this argument for a long time. No, I'm sorry. It did not need an R. The original Venom didn't need an R to be delightful and entertaining and make a hell of a lot of money. Hellboy didn't need an R rating to be good. The Dark Knight didn't need an R rating to be thoroughly entertaining and considered by some to be the greatest comic book film of all time. Venom, Let There Be Carnage did not need to be rated R. I know that's an unpopular thing to say. I know the cool kids in the playground say it needed to be R. I get it. That's fine. That's the cool thing to say. But the reality is it doesn't need to be R. Now, that being said, Rob, would I complain if they came out and said Venom, Let There Be Carnage would be rated R? I wouldn't complain at all. Not in the least. But did it need to be that? Nah. It'll be fine. It really will. We already got a taste in the trailer that they're going to be able to get away with a lot of stuff on this. So I get it. Some people were looking forward to R. I get it. Some people are going to feel a little disappointed by that. But for me, it's like, listen, the last one was PG-13. It worked. You can get away with a lot. Financially, this makes sense. I think this is going to be a good movie. So no, I do not think this getting a PG-13 as opposed to an R is going to affect the quality of the film at all. That's just my take on it. Rob, what do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think that a rating has much to do with whether the movie's good or not. I mean, I think that people are thinking, well, I wanted R-rated violence. You know, I wanted entrails spewing across the street. I don't know. But remember, it is a Venom Carnage movie, and they do want kids to see it after all. They probably are pushing the boundaries. I can imagine that there's going to be some 8-year-old that sees this movie in the theater, and they're going to think that this is the greatest movie they've ever seen in their lives. And if it was rated R, I don't know if that 8-year-old kid could have seen this film. So I think that they're making the right choice with this. I mean, you know, it doesn't mean, like you said, this movie looks like it's a lot of fun. And, you know, if Carnage is manifesting all different kinds of weapons, I mean, I'm amused by that. I don't necessarily see him. He doesn't have to like carve people up and eat them like Hannibal Lecter did. You know, I mean, it still could be great. There's a lot of good movies with PG-13 ratings.
I mean, most of them. But, I mean, look, to some people's, to play devil's advocate for a second, I mean, yeah, look, you also have some really great, like, can we imagine Deadpool not being rated R? I mean, look, I totally believe, before Deadpool ever came out, I totally believe you could have done Deadpool PG-13 and done it in such a way that it could have worked. But we all would have preferred it rated R because we know what they would have wanted done. We know what tone that movie we would have wanted that movie to be. And now it's impossible to imagine a non-R rated Deadpool. James Gunn's Suicide Squad, right? Like, if you want to let a guy like James Gunn just go bonkers, then that's going to need an R rating, right? If you want James Gunn to truly just do whatever he wants to do and go bonkers, James Gunn is going to go R rated. That's just where he's going to go. And so that works for that. You don't need to have that for, and by the way, you know, I remember somebody pointed this out to me once. What's that comic shop? It's not House of Secrets, is it? Is it House of Secrets? The one that's on in Burbank?
Yeah.
It is House of, yeah. So I remember
that Amy Dallin worked at. Yeah,
that Amy Dallin worked at. Right. I was in there this one time. I was talking to one guy who worked there who watched the show, and they were talking all this kind of stuff. I remember Venom came or Carnage came and said, you know, Carnage in the comic books had always been PG-13. I mean, really, if you look at, except for a couple of special issue stuff, if you actually look at what's in the comic books, it's actually kind of PG-13 what they do. Anyway, who knows? I think it will be fine. I don't think there's anything to worry about here. So it's all good. I mean, would I have taken an R-rated Venom 2? Absolutely. But do I have any worry about it being PG-13? Not in the least. Not in the least, to be honest with you. Anyway, question is for you guys. You heard about this. What do you feel about this? Maybe you feel that a Venom Carnage would have been better served if it had been an R-rated film. Maybe you're like me. You're like, listen, I was a big fan of the first Venom, and that was PG-13. I think they can do a lot. It's going to be fine. However you guys feel about it, jump on down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts.